600 million pingbacks a day. So what Skyhook essentially has enabled themselves to do is they now have this giant self-healing network that keeps track of hundreds and millions of Wi-Fi access points in the locations from around the world. And again, the value of Skyhook's data isn't necessarily in all of those pingbacks, but it's in extracting interesting information. One of the things that they've done, we've partnered with them and they've created this thing called Spot Rank. Spot Rank is basically, what they've done is they've rolled up all of those 300 million check-ins over time and space, and they've created a data set that covers about 15% of the world, mostly metropolitan areas, down to 100-meter resolution, where they can tell you, based on their statistical sampling, roughly how densely populated that 100-meter tile is at a given day, at a given time. So they can tell you certain things like, for instance, where all the nightclubs in Amsterdam are, on a Friday night, the population density in that area is fairly high. And then at 3 a.m. the following Saturday morning, it's fairly low as people have moved through the area. But they can also tell you trending scores. They can tell you that not only is the population fairly dense on a Friday night, but also that it's trending upwards quickly. And then at 3 a.m. they can tell you that the population density is trending downward quickly. So essentially for the first time, we have real-time, location-based population density, which is an extremely interesting and powerful data set. If you ruminate on it for a little while, you can think about certain ideas where, for instance, obviously advertisers should pay more in more densely populated areas and stuff like that. This is a video that we created where basically we aggregated all of the real-time check-ins through all of the services on the left-hand side for South by Southwest over a 4-day period. One of the interesting things that you'll notice is, first of all, we're already creating a lot of data. We only keep track of about 1,000 points on the map at a given time. You'll also notice certain patterns emerge. As you go throughout the day, for instance, you'll see on the major highways leading into town, you'll see people checking in as they go down and get their coffee and stop for gas on the way in. And you'll see the same thing on the way out. So you'll basically see points migrate into the city in the morning and out of the city at night. Obviously, traffic slows down during the night, increases quite a bit over during the day. And obviously obviously this is at South by Southwest, and you'll see where most of the dots are there is basically Austin's downtown city center, and is also essentially, those dots are almost entirely on top of the Austin Convention Center. And I think over that 4-day period for the city of Austin, which is not a very big city physically, we collected, I don't know, probably a couple million points of data. Some interesting things, obviously, that come out of location is obviously, contextually, obviously, where am I, when am I, which are very important pieces of information. The guy that caught, has anybody here heard of the students from MIT that went to Las Vegas and were scamming the hell out of the Las Vegas casinos? These guys basically completely and utterly hacked the Vegas system and were making money hand over fist. And the guy, I actually had the privilege of meeting the guy that caught those people. And that guy, his entire job, he's been living in Vegas for 20 years, his entire job was to basically merge multiple identities. So he would find people that were basically pretending to be lots of other people. And the way that he would do that is by cross-referencing enormous databases with social security numbers, emails, names, known addresses, the list goes on and on and on and on. And what he found over 20 years of doing this is that the two most important pieces of information that you can have to basically identify a person and figure out who they are is time and location. Because people can't be in two places at a given time. And you're seeing actually, some governments actually in the world now consider latitude, longitude, and time to actually be personally identifiable information. So these are extremely important contextual pieces of information that up until recently we really didn't have ready access to. And now thanks to the Android and the iPhone, we do have ready access to. Some of the other interesting things that we found while working at SimpleGeo is the value of an object's location decreases over time. In other words, I don't care that you were at the bar that was 1 block away from where I live a week ago. It's worthless to me now because you're obviously someplace else. Another really important thing that we've taken away is obviously a value of an object's location decreases over distance as well. You'll see this is actually probably one of the #1 gripes that a lot of GoAll users have. It's like, I really honestly don't check in, or don't care that my friend checked into New York City when I'm in San Francisco. That's a worthless piece of data to me. So really, obviously most of you are here, you're in business, you want to understand how you're going to make money from this. If you're not, then maybe you're still living in the late 90s. So I wanted to talk about some ways that I feel, one of the things that I'll say often about SimpleGeo is that we're not betting on any given particular way that people are going to monetize location in real time. We're just betting that people are going to monetize location in real time. So wanted to go through a couple of ideas. We've been doing this for about a year now. We've seen a lot of really good ideas. We've seen a lot of really bad ideas. Just wanted to talk about a few of what I think are some of the better ways that we could be extracting value from location in real time. But first, obviously, how much money are you going to make? Location-based services are looking, I saw some projections. This was actually one of the more conservative ones I found, 9.2 billion euros by 2012. So, how though, right? I think that there's a lot of, people will pay a lot of money and have been paying a lot of money to find out what's nearby. People have been paying for, TomTom I think has $60 apps in the iPhone store, for instance. So, are there applications that you could be creating that tell people interesting things that are nearby, and are they willing to pay for them? My guess is yes, they are. Actually, I was just talking to Tom earlier before I came up to speak, and I said, oh yeah, because we're from the US, so I don't have data on my iPhone. I'm going to be going to the iTunes music store in a few minutes and buying basically a static map of Amsterdam so I can figure out my way around here. So I think there's a lot of possibility there. There's a lot of location-based data that hasn't been indexed. The Navtex and TeleAlices of the world have been very keen to basically index all of the world's roads and points of interest. But is there other interesting location data that's out there that hasn't been indexed, and can you monetize it? I think that's a very interesting potential problem that we have. There are some projects that are coming out that are attempting to solve this. OpenStreetMaps is a good example of that. Who's nearby? This is, I wrote a blog post for TechCrunch about a month or so ago, where I said basically that the big thing then around South by Southwest is that who won the location wars at South by Southwest, right? Did GoAll win or Foursquare win? And my point was that location isn't a war. Nobody's going to win location. Location's a gold rush. This is the next big thing. If you go back, the way that I identify quote-unquote next big things on the web is when people start coming out, and there's a lot of them coming out that are like, we're the old guy plus something new, which happened in 2001, 2002 as well. Everybody, social was the new thing, right? The social graph and social, ended up becoming the social graph. And if you were a VC in San Francisco circa 2002, I would bet 95% of your pitches were, we are some Web 1.0 company plus social. We're eBay plus social. We're Slashdot plus social, which turned out to be big. And so my argument with that post was that location is not a war, it's a gold rush. And if there is an impending war, it's over presence. Where I am, where I am, and where my friends are. So I think that there's real money to be extracted. I don't think it's going to be extracted by you winning the presence war, because I really think that Twitter, Facebook, and Google are probably going to be the ones that win that. My money is on Facebook. But is there ways to extract value and make money from helping people more efficiently manage those contacts, where their friends are and when they're at a certain place, and what kind of interesting experiences can you build on top of that.